Good morning and welcome back to My Dad's a Lawyer. I'm Noah, son and lawyer.
And I'm Brian, dad and an attorney. And I just want to let you know, Noah. I always wanted to just use the drum roll. Anyway,
Okay.
You might want to change your son and lawyer. Now, because technically you are a lawyer, but I just looked this up because I always wondered about this. The difference between a lawyer and an attorney. According to our friend Google, a lawyer is a legal professional, has completed law school, and has a Juris Doctorate, a JD degree, but is not practiced licensed law, where technically an attorney is a licensed practitioner. So we are lawyers, we are attorneys and counselors at law. So
yes. Okay. And I forgot, this is a podcast about life, law, and other stuff. Welcome to our last episode of 2025.
Yeah, we are very excited. So we do make one New Year's resolution to all of our fans. We are going to record on a regular basis.
Yes. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Excellent. All right. Well, holiday party season is finally over. I know as lawyers, especially in the industry we're in, we have a lot of, holiday parties with doctors, other lawyers, professionals. So that's finally over. And it's New Year's. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. It's not quite over. There is a nice holiday party coming up in a couple weeks. Doctor's office. I don't remember who it is, but I was surprised I got the notice late, and then I realized it was in the new year. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool because you know what? It kind of beats the crowd and changes a little bit. So
nice. And since last time we recorded, you also played hockey at the world's most famous arena. You want to talk about your experience?
That I did. I was lucky enough to be able to skate with my beer league team at Madison Square Garden. We were part of the foundation, the Garden of Dreams Foundation, that had done some fundraising where we skated with Rangers alumni back, I think, in May or March or something like that. And as the top two teams to fundraise got to play each other at Madison Square Garden before a Rangers game, and it was unbelievable. Now, locker room experience, not so much, but we got to walk out on the ice, skating under the big board. I had fans there. Thank you, Noah, and the Stolzenberg ladies who were there. And you have never seen a group of guys with such shit-eating grins on their faces, even though they lost.
Everyone was so happy the whole time. So happy. It was a really cool experience, even just to watch. I mean, I was in the garden. It was completely empty. Not that everyone wanted to watch you, but you had some fans there. You had some fans there.
You know what would have been the only thing that was missing? The only thing, and I give them credit. They had music in between, the period and all that stuff. The only thing missing was when we scored, they didn't play the horns.
The goal song.
I know. And have the girls come out with the flags.
I was thinking about that, but it was fun. We had a good, small group of people there watching. It was a cool experience being in the arena with not everybody in there. You really could take it in and look around and see everything and realize how cool of an experience it is.
And it's really is fascinating because they brought us down to the ice level and in the back, under the bleachers basically, right? But it's a really nice setup. And they had the locker rooms are there, but they had these locker rooms for us and the kids that skate in between. They were just curtains and whatever. But we were right next to the basketball court. The entire Knicks basketball court was stacked up in pieces and everything.
Yeah.
It was wow, because they have those days. I don't know. It's not New Year's Day, but they have days where they'll have 2 games in a day.
Yeah.
Which is
or back-to-back days or something. Even back-to-back days is a lot to
it's really it's almost a real choreography of what they have to do, because they choreographed us as we were on a timeline. We had to get dressed. They walked us out at a certain time. They let us use the referees' locker rooms to shower, but even that, they're okay, next 2, move. I was okay, come, slow down, guys.
Right. All right. Well, that was a good experience. Let's move on.
Thank you for being my favorite fan. Yes.
Of course. Very lucky that I was able to take work off for that.
That's good. Your boss is skating.
Yes. All right. Now moving on to the old guy question. So these days you have Netflix, all these streaming platforms. We've spoken about streaming platforms before, but now they have these top 10 shows, most watched shows. They really push these shows onto you. So I feel like a lot of people are watching the same shows at the same time. So what shows did everyone talk about before streaming?
Okay, so it's funny you should say this. I was thinking about this. I recently started watching Fallout, the
Oh, great
award-winning,
show. Yeah, great show.
unbelievable. Like, I don't know
It's based
why
on a video game, I'm pretty sure.
right. It's totally like up my alley, the type of like dystopian. Anyway, regardless, I mean, the show's great, but I was originally going to watch it. Then I didn't watch it. Then I was like, oh, I don't want to binge it because then but I ended up binging the first season, caught up. So, and I laughed because I got to the last episode, and the next episode doesn't come out till today.
Oh,
right.
Wait, is there a new season out?
Yeah, they come out on Wednesdays. Okay.
Oh,
so
I need to catch up.
Yeah. Well,
wait, how many seasons are there?
This is just the second season, and so I like got a little upset, but then I was like, oh my God, when I grew up, you used to Saturday nights was The Love Boat and Fantasy Island from 8 to 9 and 9 to 10. I mean, that was the big thing. And my grandmother always babysat us. My parents went out and we would have dinner and then we would go sit in her room. She had a couch and we would watch Fantasy Island. I'm sorry, we would watch The Love Boat. And then when you were a little older, you were allowed to stay up to watch Fantasy Island. Right. And, that's what you would even in my young 20s and 30s is like, when Seinfeld came out, you watched it once a week. That's when it came out. And you would then talk about it at the office. Right. Hell, even when The Office came out, it was the same type of thing. But so what streaming has done is, as you said, the algorithm pushes movies. Like I was looking for something last night. I was just in the mood to watch something. I was like, oh, what's this top movie? It's like, why was this a top movie? Right? Some algorithm pushed some like basically stupid movie that I might have watched at some point, but wasn't one that I would have actually wasted money on, to buy or to rent. And so the rhythm was much slower. Plus, you could talk about it in between because you're like, well, what's really going to happen? Is this going to happen? Like I saw this with Game of Thrones.
I'm watching it right now, rewatching it right now.
Right. If you were up to date and were watching a season, you had to wait.
Right. Every Sunday or whenever.
There's a bit of an anticipation there. Right. That's like you get an episode that like in a kind of like a action thriller drama like that. There might be episodes that are kind of like, ugh, but they need those episodes to, complete the story. Whereas if you're binging, you watch it, you move on to the next one, you probably even forget
those
about
episodes.
That.
Yeah, those episodes don't mean as much or matter as much because you're moving right on to the next episode and the storyline continues.
Yeah, so that's really, you talked about that, but it was also on the news side, right? You didn't have the 24-hour, actually the 24-second news cycle, right? Yeah. You got the newspaper, and a good portion of what you read about was, in the paper versus,
right.
Oh my God, this is on the news, right away, stuff like that. So,
all right,
that's what we talked about.
Now watching Now watching these TV shows are just so popular. Everyone and their mother watches every show, and everyone knows about every show.
Yeah, I kind of wish you had a little more control over the interface because, like, if I start watching something and it fucking sucks, like I don't. Yeah. I take a rule now. If I'm like watching, like sometimes I'm watching something that's so bad, but there's something about it, whether it was like structured well or it's just so campy or goofy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just watch. It's so stupid. But other times I'm just like, I'm not watching this anymore. But then it keeps appearing. Finish this.
I know.
No, I don't want to finish it. It sucked. I mean, the trailer was good. That was about it.
And then it will start recommending similar shows to you.
Oh, yes.
It's like because you watched this, you would like these shows, and then they're all shows that are like goofy, like shows that you don't want to watch.
You're just like, oh, is my light flashing here? I think I need a new bulb.
No, I mean I can't tell on the. I can't.
It keeps like popping up, and then unless we're having a power surge.
The power went out at work yesterday. We spent about 2.5 hours without power. But
Wow.
luckily, I brought my laptop and the internet was working, so I watched my CLEs. Got to get my CLEs in before I got to
For
renew
those
my
of you
law
that would be
license.
continuing legal education, because not only is Noah a lawyer, as an attorney, he is required to take up to, what are you, 24 or 48?
Yeah, it's 24.
24 credits every 2 years for New York.
The first 2 years, it was not
It was-
48, but maybe 36.
Yeah, something like that.
And they require all these different categories. Now I just need to take a few select categories. And
Okay,
then the
just
rest
excuse me for 1 second. I hear mom just came home, and that means the dogs are on their way up. So instead of them
All right,
breaking the door down,
let's cut that there.
now you gotta be on camera.
All right, now into our main topic, negotiations. Now, this is a very important part of what we do as lawyers, but it also is a very important part of all facets of life.
You start negotiating from the moment you're born, from childhood
Yes.
to adulthood. Everything is a negotiation. Yeah, some you're gonna win, some you're gonna definitely lose. But really, it's kind of like the word. It's almost like the word manipulation. It seems to have a negative connotation, but it
Right.
doesn't. That's what we do. Like, we are a creature, right?
Yes.
We need or want something, and even if it's not for bad reasons, thankfully we're kind of going to try to influence somebody else to do something. And that's really, that's what negotiations are all about. It's like one side wants one thing, one side wants something else. It's how can you come to a compromise that everybody walks away happy, or at least not as unhappy as they would be.
Yeah.
You put here on our outline the art of negotiations, which is kind of like the art of the deal by a certain president who,
Yeah.
the book itself, I don't even remember reading it, but I definitely read it. It had some cachet to it because it was Donald Trump at the time. But looking back on it, it's like, oh my God. But listen, he has his own way to negotiate.
Everyone has their own way of negotiating, and that's why sometimes it makes it hard because you have two conflicting personalities that may not get along and are willing to compromise, and then other times you have two people that are very willing to compromise and don't really care about the result. They just want something in return.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of the keys to negotiating, and one of the keys to just being successful in anything like that is knowing ultimately what you want. And
Right.
just because you say, "Oh, I want this," doesn't necessarily mean is that really what you want, or is that just what you would like? It's like, what could you, if you are looking to be hired and you want a certain salary and certain time off, you're going to have a place where you say, look, if I got this and this amount and this much time off, I'd be happy. Doesn't mean
Right.
you're going to start anywhere near there. Right. You might start
Right. You
way,
negotiate
way up here or
yes.
something like that. But that's all part of negotiation. And I think that in this day and age, particularly in our country, is like people get a little bugged out about kind of dickering and trading and negotiating over stuff. Like they take it almost too personally because
Right.
a lot of times it's, okay, there are things that you just can't negotiate. You can't go into Verizon and be like, oh no, I'm only going to pay $29.99, not $39.99 a month.
Right.
But you still might be able to get a free phone case or something in terms of what you're doing. Yet most people, and the reason so many people kind of win at their negotiation is they know that most people are going to come in and just be like, here's what it is. And you say no, and then they're like kind of unsure and
Right.
self-conscious about it, so they don't ask. No, all you had to do was say, well, what about this? Like what? And that's what you and I as attorneys do for a living.
Right.
That's
especially in the industry and fields we're in.
Yeah. And before we get into some of those great points that I want you to talk about some of those great points that you put up there. People would always say, yeah, how could you go out to lunch with the defense attorney or with the judge? Well, because this is our job. Our job is to advocate zealously for our client and get them the best deal possible.
Right.
But when all is said and done, that was a job. Yeah, there are moments where you take things very personally, and there are
Yes.
colleagues on the other side that are assholes.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. And take it way too personally and think it's an attack on them and not their client.
And so you're going to push as hard as you can. But when push comes to shove, I've had conversations with my adversaries where we're really fighting back and forth. And I'm like, look, you know me, you've known me for years. This is my client's position. This is what I can do. And they say something, and then boom, we'll go in front of a judge, right?
Right.
That's what going to court, I think that's the best description for going to court for people. Ultimately, it's when the two sides really can't come to an agreement and they're asking another person, a third party, to make a decision. That is why, particularly in our field, not only do you have the ultimate trial date, which is pressure on both sides, you have regular conversations, then you have mediation, then you have arbitration,
right?
Then you have a trial. People don't know. I don't know what the statistics are, but something like 98% of cases do not go to trial.
Right.
It's probably higher.
I always say like 95%, 90 something percent.
Think about that, right? Yeah. If there are 100 cases being, brought lawsuits, only 5 will go to trial,
right?
If that,
right?
Yeah. And then what happens for the other 95 all depends on the ability to negotiate and to see what's going on.
Right. And you mentioned mediations. When we go to mediations, what we tell our client is the perfect settlement in a mediation is where both sides are unhappy. One side thinks they got too less or not enough, and the other side thinks they paid too much. And, that means that it was a successful mediation. If both sides are unhappy and one thinks they gave too much, the other thinks they gave too little. So,
yeah. And that I think that's kind of reflective of the discourse issues in politics these days and why we can't get, Congress can't get anything done, right? Because everyone's taking their hard stance and it's amplified by social media, yet nobody's willing to compromise. In fact, I don't know if you saw it, I saw in the paper this morning, Trump signed his first 2 vetoes of this presidency.
Okay.
So 2 small bipartisan bills. One was to make some town in the Everglades part of an Indian reservation, and I forget what the other one was. And he vetoed them. And when you read, you don't even have to read between the lines. For the one for the Indian reservation, it seems that tribe had joined in a lawsuit against having the immigration detention facility in the Everglades. So it was a bipartisan. In fact, one of the senators from Florida is like one of his staunchest supporters, had this bill passed
and supported it.
Right. And he vetoed it. Now that's your right as a president, fine. But the point is, that's why negotiations are so difficult, because people truly dig in. Like when you hear about these cases that go to trial, I have we have a situation that's been going on for, I think it's like 15 years or something. We had handled some work for a law firm, and that law firm got sued by the former client. So they brought us in because we were part of it. We don't really have any liability here. Yet we've had to deal with this because this particular individual has refused to drop this case for 15 years. It's gone to appellate divisions. It's gone back. It's gone up. It's gone back. And I keep having my defense attorney, from the insurance company say, oh, here's what's going on now. Here's what's going on now. And we finally got a letter saying that they're now talking about potentially mediating.
15 years later.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And so think about the toll that takes. Like, again, life is long or life is short. Depends on how you look at it. So do you want to spend all your days fighting and fighting and fighting? Or do you say, look, what am I willing to, it's on principle.
Right. You're never going to get anywhere sometimes.
I get it, and sometimes you have to go all the way, but most things, quote unquote, the principle would be cut your losses and move on.
Right. I mean, I was looking through the stuff that we have on the outline. One of the biggest things, it kind of mentions it in there, but one of the biggest lessons I learned in law school is not to negotiate against yourself. So, we have in here, be silent. So you give your side of the story or give your number or whatever you're negotiating for. You say what you want, and then you let the other side respond. You don't want to go back and forth with yourself and go from 100,000 to 90,000. Keep lowering your
silence. Is one of the greatest tools and so difficult. Have you had the experience where you think you have a good demand and you make the demand and the other side goes, okay,
and doesn't respond to it or say anything?
No, they say okay. Okay. Oh. I've had it where we work up a demand. We're like, here's our demand, and we go and we present. They go, okay.
Oh, and accept the demand.
Yeah, and I'm like,
that happened once to me.
Right,
and that happened once, and I was like, I could have demanded twice as much.
Exactly. So that's it. But you're right. You never negotiate against yourself. And there's a great book by a former FBI guy called "Never Split the Difference."
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of times, you will kind of quote unquote split the difference, but if you start out at a certain number and they come back, now splitting the difference is a higher number than if you had just split the difference originally.
Right.
So you really do have to stop wanting to hear yourself fucking talk.
Yeah.
And there's psychological studies out there too, like behavioral studies and stuff where we say, hey, here's what we're going to do. And other people get uncomfortable. They feel they have to fill the void. They start talking, right? And that's a piece on like hostage negotiation side, right? You get the other guy, you get the hostage taker talking.
You're
going to get somewhere,
right? All right. Well, there's our lesson on negotiations.
And as kids, you got to throw down a nice little tantrum.
Yes.
I am sitting.
You negotiate differently as a child.
Yes, I am sitting in what used to be your bedroom, which is now my office. Thank you very much, Noah. And I remember just a few short years ago holding that door closed while little toddler Noah was screaming and wouldn't go to bed. And then just one more story. Oh, just one more of this, just one more of that. And I'm talking, you learned early on how to wear your parents down.
Yes. I'm a good negotiator.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned young. I'm in the right field.
So just wishing everybody a happy and a healthy new year. And please stay safe out there no matter what you're doing.
Happy and healthy new year, everybody. Thanks for joining us in 2025.
And 2026 is going to be an awesome year. I think we're going to start building some swag and doing some stuff. So we're going to have some good times.
That'd be fun. All right.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Have a good day, everybody.
Take care.